As India observes the death anniversary of Field Marshal Sam Manekshaw on June 27, the Meghallian explores the significance of Sam Manekshaw Museum and the illustrious military career of the legend. Nestled in Happy Valley, Shillong is a lesser-known gem, the only one of its kind in India, dedicated to Field Marshal Sam Manekshaw or Sam Bahadur, as he is fondly remembered by in the Indian Armed Forces. The Sam Manekshaw Museum has preserved his memory over a period of 40 years. Colonel Vighu Vashishta, the Deputy Commandant of the 58 Gurkha Training Centre, walked us through the museum, sharing anecdotes about his life and the significance of the museum. But before we dwell on the museum, let's get to know more about Sam Bahadur. Field Marshal Sam Bahadur hailed from a military family. His father and grandfather served in the British Indian Army. His father, Hormizd, was a doctor by profession. He completed his early schooling in Sherwood College, Nainital. Perhaps inspired by his father, he too wanted to study medicine. Given his elder brother and sister were studying in Cambridge, he aspired to move to Great Britain. His father laid down a condition. He had to earn a distinction in senior Cambridge, which he fulfilled. His father, however, advised him to study in India, owing to the possible financial distress this would entail. He then joined the Hindu Mahasabha College in Amritsar for class 11. Then came 1932. The Indian Military Academy, or the IMA, was being raised at Dehradun to train Indian officers. He applied as a youngster in the first batch, known as the Pioneers.
This batch has also the distinction of producing 3 army chiefs of 3 different countries. While Field Marshal Manekshaw was the Indian Army Chief, Muhammad Musa was the Pakistan Army Chief, and Smith Dunn was the Burmese Army Chief.
He passed out from IMA in 1934 and was commissioned to serve in the 4th Battalion of the 12th Frontier Force Regiment. As part of his military career, he served in different places in Northwest Frontier Province and the Second World War under the British. Post-independence, he became part of the 8th Gurkha Rifles. His legendary wit came to his rescue during the Second World War. In 1942, he saw action near Sitang River. He was wounded with 9 bullets in an operation and given the Military Cross on the battlefield based on the assumption that he would not survive, and rushed to the field hospital.
Wherein the doctor felt that he is unlikely to survive. So he said, I won't treat him because it's a waste of effort. But just like out of a blue moon, he asked that how it has happened. And then he said, I have been hit by a mule. So seeing his sense of humor at this moment also, the doctor was mighty surprised and pleased. And then he said, I'll definitely treat you. And as the luck would have it, he survived and rose to be the army chief.
With the end of the World War II came the surrender of the Imperial Japanese Army in 1945. While the prisoner of war camps were established in various places, rehabilitation became a matter of concern. The onus was on him to organize and coordinate these camps. He helped in the repatriation of 10,000 Japanese prisoners of war along the Indo-China border as staff officer to General Dacey towards the end of the war. Sam Bahadur ensured that basic requirements were taken care of. His impeccable sense of duty earned him adulation from the prisoners. He also became the first Indian officer to be posted to the Military Operations Directorate of the Indian Army as Lieutenant Colonel in 1946, the domain of British officers earlier. Some of the notable battles he participated in included the Indo-Pakistan War of 1947, the Sino-Indian War of 1962, and the Indo-Pakistan Wars in 1965 and 1971. He also revived 4 corps in North-East Frontier Agency, present-day Arunachal Pradesh. In a famous incident, then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi met him, seeking a military solution to the then developing situation at the earliest. The war was a humanitarian crisis marked by the influx of Bangladeshi population in Indian territory. Tension loomed large in border areas. Field Marshal Sam Bahadur rose to the occasion, reminding her that the Indian Army required time to prepare a counter-offensive, showing immense moral courage in the process.
So for next about 6 to 8 months, Field Marshal prepared deliberately how to go about the war. He planned it, he strategized it, and he did a lot of coordination with the other two services, that is the Air Force and Navy, and otherwise other civil agencies also. And finally, with a good strategic planning, the war was launched, and within 13 days, we could make a country out of Pakistan.
Another anecdote involves Field Marshal Sam Bahadur's red motorcycle and the 1971 war.
When Field Marshal Manekshaw was in the AMO Directorate, that is Military Operations Directorate in Delhi, along with him was then Major Yahya Khan, who thereafter became the army chief during the 1971 war of the Pakistan Army. So he had taken one motorcycle from then Lieutenant Colonel Manekshaw, and he was to pay him about 1,000 rupees, which he didn't pay. So when we won the 1971 war, so the Field Marshal jokingly used to say that Yahya Khan didn't pay the $1,000 and he had to part with half of Pakistan.
The question on most minds by now, how did the moniker Bahadur came to be?
All the Gorkha soldiers, they use Bahadur as a kind of common surname after their name. So it could be Ram Bahadur, it could be Sham Bahadur, and likewise. So while he was assigned to the 8 Gorkha Rifles post-independence, once he had visited one of the Gorkha units, and while he was coming out, so he asked one of the soldiers that what is your name? So that soldier said, I am Harka Bahadur. Then he said, what is my name? So that soldier innocently said he couldn't make out. He saw the Sam there on his name tab and he said Sam Bahadur. So from there onwards he was popularly called as Sam Bahadur.
Now let's go back to the history of the museum. The Sam Manekshaw Museum was inaugurated in 1980 by then Colonel of the 8th Gorkha Rifle, Lieutenant General Harish Datta. Most memorabilia and personal belongings, including the mementos, were sent by Field Marshal Sam Bahadur himself. With his demise in 2008, the final set were brought here. The museum is partitioned in 2 blocks. The first block is further divided into 3 foyers. On the left are trophies for military units that he commanded or was associated with. The central foyer contains memorabilia and trophies from foreign countries and from training academies. Interestingly, a Filmfare trophy was presented to him in 1972, and the right foyer has mementos from civil organizations and personal effects like uniform, helmets, a Naga headgear, personal weapons, and his baton, among others. On the pillars are the swords presented to him by the people and the Sikh units, celebrating the connection with Amritsar as his birthplace. The second block is compact. One gets a glimpse of the original parchments of Padma Bhushan in 1968 in recognition of his role in containing the Naga insurgency, the Padma Vibhushan in 1972 and the 1971 victory, and the Legion of Merit presented by the US Army to the military people of very high caliber. Mementos and awards from Bangladesh, Singapore and Malaysia, among others, and the 1986 Shiromani Award from the then President Ziani Zal Singh, photographs of his life in 32 well-categorized albums take visitors back in time.
So coming to this section, this basically has got all the photographs of Field Marshal, the personal and official, and they have been compiled in 32 albums. And besides that, we also have the original parchment of Padma Vibhushan. Onto the other side is Padma Bhushan, and also the Legendary Merit of US Army.
For those visiting the Sam Manekshaw Museum, this space is a revelation. Walking within its hallowed white walls, one feels a sense of calm. It's difficult to not feel patriotic. With the biopic on Sam Bahadur slated for release this year, the josh or enthusiasm is indeed high with anticipation.
For more news updates, subscribe, like and share.